This is where I found myself in May of 2001. I just wanted to stay for the summer, but in July I got a job working for Landmark. For the first couple weeks I had shifts at the Lagoon Cinema, but eventually I found my way to the Uptown, and that's where I spent most of my time. This is where I worked my first shift. Concessions. The lighting is poor and my lens is slow, so these images don't really do it justice. Mike was the manager. He was kind of a dick. This is also where I worked my second shift. Becky was the manager. She was crabby and impatient. Later I became close friends with both Mike and Becky. Mike has a family now, and Becky lives in San Diego, California, where she manages another theater. That's the other Mike. He moved back to Missouri. I couldn't find a picture of Mike Meyer. I think that's Cammie's waist and Patrick in the back. This is what the world looks like from the box office. Most of my shifts were here when Will wasn't working. If you look carefully, you can see a reflection of Will in the glass, moving boxes of paperwork. Will has worked here longer than anyone. We used to sell out a lot of movies, all 900 seats or 880-something functioning seats according to a recent count. I was proud of how quickly I could sell tickets and still end the night with an even drawer. Sometimes Hugh would try to help by selling tickets to the people in line. Those are the only nights when my drawer wasn't perfect, so Hugh would write me up. Once, after such an occasion, when my drawer came up $20 short, Hugh, after driving home in his red Mazda Miata like a fucking grizzly bear in a go-kart, found $20 nestled in the pocket of his corduroy pants. He admitted the mistake, but the write-up stayed in the office filing cabinet as part of my permanent record. Nicole used to call him useless. This is where I was sitting when I broke up with Nicole. We didn't speak, just exchanged handwritten letters. Hers was sad, mine was mean. She's the only girl who's ever kept a framed photograph of me on her dresser. Once I jumped over the counter through these doors to tackle a drunk who'd punched another customer in the mouth. As I grabbed him, a 2-liter bottle of strawberry soda flew out of his trench coat and exploded onto the wall. When it settled to the floor, it looked like blood. Tiny reached the guy at the same time I did. I latched onto him so tightly that I trapped Tiny's hands between our bodies. I had to relax for a second so Tiny could free himself. The guy tried to fight, so I gently choked him until he was unconscious. Then I sat on him, right here, for nearly 30 minutes, while we waited for the police to arrive. He snored most of the time. Here we are. One of my coworkers took this picture. I forget his name. That's Tiny to the right, and the blood soda in the corner. The guy who got punched ended up suing the theater for endangering his safety, and the guy I choked turned out to be pretty nice. I should have let him go. These are the south stairs. When I wasn't working box office, this is where I would sit and read or try to take a nap between movies. On a slow day, I could finish an entire novel. I tried to read everything Graham Greene wrote, but I stopped when I got to the Ministry of Fear. Under these stairs is a hallway exit where we would herd customers on a busy night when the entry was full. That's a secret panel that leads to a narrow crawl space. I found empty beer cans and a porn stash there. There weren't any complete periodicals, just scissored pictures and individual pages that had been fanned out above the ceiling. Someone's sanctuary. This is the auditorium. Over 880 functioning rocker seats. soon to be approximately 300 top-of-the-line luxury theater chairs. Once Patrick let me introduce Rock and Roll Ray before a midnight movie. This is what I saw, except some of the seats were occupied. This is my seat. There are many like it, but this one is mine. When I found someone else sitting here, I would sit nearby, uncomfortable and full of resentment. I've seen nearly 500 movies from this general area, some more than once. Apocalypse Now, The Seven Samurai, Dogville, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Once we played the uncut version of Cannibal Holocaust. The crowd was rowdy and annoying and drunk, but a few minutes after the movie started, they were silent. Most of them didn't make it to the end. That made me happy. People must have thought they were coming to see Return of the Living Dead or a trauma movie or something. These are the purple seats. I never sat here. This is the balcony. I may or may not have had sexual relations here. I wasn't the only one. This is the view from the balcony. I watched one of my movies from here once, as part of a program with movies from Ryan Shadley, Chris Bocchi, Brianna Deal, my British friends Neil Fox and Justin Doherty, and the world premiere of Eric Styles' Seahorses featuring the return of Lung Leg. These are the stairs to the basement. This is where I sat with Britt when we broke up, next to the courtesy cups. She said she wanted to take a break, but she was already sleeping with Matt Duff. A few weeks later, they flew to Las Vegas and got married. I got my wisdom teeth out and took some time away from work. As we were talking, right when I started to lose it, Rebecca walked by to grab some Raisinets or popcorn bags or something. It was embarrassing. The whole thing was embarrassing. People never really treated me the same after all that. This is a secret passage. I once stayed up until 6 in the morning exploring every inch of the theater with Jeremy. We spent a lot of time in this spot, recovering artifacts. Jeremy always wore a 3-piece suit to work. I remember overhearing customers call him stupid because he was very deliberate as he operated the register. He wasn't stupid. He was brilliant and had a master's degree in engineering or something. He was kind of a sentimental guy. His favorite band was a-ha, and he would eat an ice cream sundae every night before he went to bed. He also had an identical twin brother who watched television for a living. Jeremy had never kissed a girl. Joel wanted to buy him a prostitute for his 30th birthday. I hope he didn't. We found a lot of old packages of candy up there, along with cups and popcorn containers, probably 60 years old. There were also beer cans and porn. If you go to the right, you'll find a crawl space that leads to a tunnel running along the north side of the auditorium. It's hard to pass through because someone piled bricks in the way. There was an electric fan mounted to the right of the junction that doesn't serve a purpose, as far as I could tell. If you take the crawl space to the left, well, that's hard to explain. That's Rich, and Patrick, and Joe, They're looking for a screwdriver. This is where Alvin used to work. He was a maintenance man with narcolepsy and diabetes. He gave us a few scares. As you can see, he had a lot of tools, but he fixed everything with a glue gun and clear packing tape. This is the room where he kept posters and other promotional items. There were more in the shelves to the left. This is one of the secret tunnels. The only one that still has light. At one time, these tunnels were full of junk. While cleaning them, we found a dusty pretzel machine still stocked with pretzels. This is one of the secret rooms. I'd sit here and read the signatures while everyone else smoked pot. This is Claire. We used to be friends until I punched her roommate. But he deserved it. He called me a cunt because I didn't have money to pay for a grindcore show that I wasn't attending in the basement. I was forced to use him as a human shield while an army of crust punks rained blows and tried to break bottles over my head. I left completely unscathed except for some glass chips in my hair. This is where I sat with Cammie one night after she got back from tour. We commiserated about our broken hearts, and I thought about asking her on a date. But before I had the courage, Rich pulled up in an old Buick with the guys from his band. Cammie ran outside and jumped in without really saying goodbye. Rich is a stylin', profilin', limousine-riding, jet-flying, kiss-stealin', wheelin'-dealin' son of a gun. But he has a kid now, so... I remember when we showed the Royal Tenenbaums. Almost every show was sold out, and during one of the shows a customer puked all the way up and down these stairs. It happened 5 minutes before the movie was supposed to end, so we didn't have time to clean. We just set up stanchions and velvet ropes at the top and bottom of the stairs and along the north exit of the balcony and did our best to direct customers to the other stairs. Some people ignored the ropes, of course, and tracked vomit through the lobby. Below these stairs is the old smoke shop. We were required to sit here in rows of folding chairs while representatives of the Pavone and Cohen labor relations firm spoke to us about the dangers of organizing and showed us anti-union slideshows. We would have been the first unionized theater in the nation, but Pavone and Cohen earned their generous commission and we lost our election by 4 votes. Later that year, 2 other theaters in the chain won their elections, with more to follow. This is where a drinking fountain used to be. This is where a projector used to be. This is the metal safety door from when film was made out of cellulose nitrate. This is the first time it has opened since they installed and subsequently deinstalled the platter system. This is the view from the booth. Rock and Roll Ray once conducted a human sacrifice on that stage. This is what it looks like underneath. This is the lounge outside of the women's restroom. At my new job, I learned that it's called an anteroom. This is what the inside of the women's restroom looks like, in case you were wondering. That's the men's. There's nothing very remarkable inside. I've vomited in that restroom hundreds of times. That's Joe in the office. He's about to finish his 4th feature. He's like the Fassbender in Minneapolis. Or the Soderbergh. Or the Bergman. Or Miike. And here he is, toiling in obscurity. Not if I have anything to say about it. I stole this shot from Joe's movie about the Uptown. It's an homage. So is this voiceover. This is where I spent a lot of Saturday nights. I had fun bantering with the box person and harassing kids with dumb haircuts who came to see the midnight movie. Sometimes local celebrities would show up. Brother Ali would always come with his girlfriend, and they were nice, so we'd usually put them on the pass list. Mark Mallman used to show up with high school girls. We let him pay full price, and his date got the student discount. I was sitting here one Sunday afternoon when a stocky middle-aged man wearing glasses and a blue fleece pullover tried to buy tickets using a $100 bill. It was between shows, so all currency larger than a $5 bill had already been locked into the office safe. Standard practice at any movie theater or business that experiences heavy cash flow. They were especially careful about this at the Uptown after Pogo was robbed at gunpoint twice within a week. When informed of this fact, the man in the blue fleece pullover became irate. I defended my coworker and our policy, and the confrontation escalated. Rebecca came out of the office and told everyone to be quiet or go outside. So we went outside. This is where my last shift ended. I asked him to take off his glasses and he spit in my face. As a punch grazed the top of my head, I executed a sloppy double-leg takedown, causing his glasses to fall to the ground. I grazed his face with a couple quick punches before letting him come to a turtled position, where I held him and landed knee strikes to the crown of his head until Paul von Stetzel told me to stop. If I hadn't phoned the police and written a thorough report about what happened, corporate headquarters would have never known. A couple days later, I went on tour with Bodies Lay Broken for a week. When I got home, I went to my first scheduled shift and was told to visit the office. Hugh and Mike Meyer were waiting. We had a short conversation, and they cited the contents of my permanent record and the incident of the previous week as grounds for termination. I learned that months earlier, a coworker had written a letter to the corporate office speculating that I was stealing from the till after I lent him $10 to buy lunch. That employee had subsequently been promoted to a managerial position. It was the night before I left on tour with Bodies Lay Broken that I had that business with Claire's roommate. That's the last time I ever hit someone in anger. I guess that's it.